As a small video game collector, I've always wondered how people feel when they finally get to add that holy grail to their collection. Is it a marvelous feeling like no other? Or does the excitement for completing a full set just kind of fade away and leave you wondering why you did all of this in the first place? Today, I wanted to look at the most expensive video games released for every single Nintendo home console. And to be a bit more specific, I won't be talking about any graded games, limited run games, games that were only acquired by contests, and any games released outside of North America. Sorry everyone else. Because I feel like when it comes to completing a full set, these games had to have the accessibility that the general market had when these games were first released. 1985. Nintendo's newest home console, the NES, would become a smash hit in the States. All these little American boys and girls would go crazy playing games such as Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, and so many beloved arcade remakes as well. But what's one thing that Americans don't like as much? Their government exercise! 1987 would see the release of Bandai's newest game, Stadium Events. This game would be test marketed in the US as part of their Family Fitness line of games, a series of games to be played with the use of the Family Fun Fitness Pad. Only 200 of these games were shipped out for retail and only a few copies were sold. Long story short, Nintendo would buy the North American rights to the Family Fun Fitness Pad, recall all North American copies of Stadium Events, destroy them, repackage them, and re-release the game as world-class track meet with the all-new Power Pad. Complete in box is such a rare thing to see for this game because there were so few copies actually sold. The most recent sold listing for this game, complete in box, on eBay was $42,000. That is literally a huge down payment on a house. Whoever spent that is insane. 1991. Following the success of Nintendo's first console was going to be a hard one. After many years of being stuck in 8-bit gaming, Nintendo's second home console, the Super Nintendo, would make the jump into 16-bit gaming. This meant better graphics, better pizza, Papa John. Although there are some massive heavy hitters for the SNES that rack up a few $100s, Harvest Moon, Chrono Trigger, Earthbound, these are some of the most fan-favorited games for this console. And just because a game is a fan favorite, it doesn't always mean that the game is going to have such a high market value to them. 1993 would see the release of Video System's Aero Fighters, a top-down vertical scrolling shooter that was originally released in arcades a year earlier. Because higher-ups predicted this game wouldn't do as well over in the States, not many copies were made and shipped over. But that doesn't stop the market, as copies for this game are selling for over $1,200 loose. The complete in box version of this game looks like it's about double that, with prices over $3,000. Once again, that's like some people's rent for a couple months. 1996. The jump from 16-bit gaming to 64-bit would be like the coming of Jesus for gamers. No more did you have to play games in a flat world, because now you were part of their world. Nintendo's newest console at the time, the Nintendo 64, would be competing with consoles such as Sony's PlayStation and Sega's Dreamcast, but that wouldn't stop Nintendo from standing. Some of the hottest games that were still carrying the company still carry the company till this day. Super Mario 64, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Super Smash Bros., and even Clay Fighters. I'm kidding, but this is one of the weirdest games on this list. 1997 would see the release of Interplay Productions' Clay Fighter 63 1/3, a fighting game that uses stop motion and claymation for rendering characters. This isn't even the game I'm supposed to be talking about, because a year after that, in 1998, an updated version of this game would be released as a Blockbuster video rental exclusive. Please tell me you all still remember Blockbuster. Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut would add originally removed characters, new storylines, and just a bunch of adjustments to gameplay and UI. And once again, because this game was originally an exclusive rental-only game from Blockbuster, this meant that not many people were able to own it for themselves. They did hold a contest for people to win a copy for themselves, but I'd like to think that some people just forgot to return their copies. Loose copies of this game can fetch up to the $1,000 mark, whilst complete in box copies, oh my god. A recent complete in box copy sold for $15,000. Where are you people getting this money from? 2001. The 2000s would be time for Nintendo to step their game up. Sony and Microsoft had the hottest new consoles on the market, and Nintendo stayed being Nintendo because the GameCube was born. And if you know anything about GameCube games, for some reason, they are some of the most expensive games to collect for when it comes to Nintendo. This could play into the GameCube being one of Nintendo's biggest failures of the early 2000s, but there are some bangers like no other for this console. Super Mario Sunshine, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, Animal Crossing, Super Monkey Ball, Super Monkey Ball, Super Monkey Ball, Super Monkey Ball. Super Monkey Ball is not just a cute monkey in a ball collecting bananas. It is part of the rarest GameCube game ever. Kinda. Back then, the GameCube used to have these really cool 2-in-1 bundle packs for games, and trust me, these are very expensive nowadays. Sega put out 3 of these bundles, including Sonic games and Super Monkey Ball games. The Sonic Adventure Pack, the Super Monkey Ball Pack, and the Sonic Heroes and Super Monkey Ball Duo Pack. Not much is really known about these packs besides the fact that the Sonic Heroes and Super Monkey Ball Duo Pack literally sells for thousands of dollars. This pack rarely gets listed on eBay, but it has been seen to sell for over $6,000. My biggest gripe about this super rare and expensive game is that it's literally just a cardboard sleeve for 2 games. I can't. 2006. Nintendo would finally play into the masses not only by actually putting their games onto discs, but making a console everyone could enjoy. The Wii is the success story that everyone loves to hear about Nintendo, because at their heart, it was always about putting out the best quality games for everyone. And that's why we have so much Wii shovelware. Playing games on the Wii is sort of weird because one minute you can have a nunchuck plugged in aiming down the barrel of a gun, and the next you could just straight up use the Wiimote for whatever it wants to be. 6 years after the Wii would launch, Rhythm Heaven Fever would be released for the Wii and is kind of a funny expensive title as it's a really good game and it's a fan favorite, but it wasn't always so expensive. What I've read so far is that the reason this game has gone up so much in price is due to its popularity it's gained with content creators. And looking at the price jump in 2020, I'm sure this is a very viable reason. Right now, the game sits at about $150 to $200 complete in box, which is pretty crazy because I wanted this game for my collection, but I don't know if I really want to spend that much on it. 2012. Nintendo's failure of the Wii U would ultimately cost them years of backlash. Although many great games came from the Wii U, the majority of Nintendo's public just couldn't see eye to eye with them. Honestly, there are some pretty crazy releases that I've seen on the Wii U as well that aren't first party. Zombie U, Batman Arkham City, Bayonetta 1 and 2. But what about the most expensive Wii U title? What was originally supposed to be an Xbox 360 exclusive, and then discussed as a PS3 release as well, Nintendo ultimately picked up the publishing rights from THQ and released Devil's Third, a hack and slash shooter type game that supposedly only sold 3,000 copies within its first month. This caused Nintendo to pull back on the game as the online servers would shut down within a year's time of Devil's Third being released. What was once retailed at the normal price of a Wii U game now sells complete in box for over $250. It's a lot of money, but honestly the Wii U library isn't that bad in terms of total amount. 2017. Although we are entering the end of the Switch's lifespan, it's still kinda hard to determine what will be the most expensive game for this console. I personally feel that the Switch right now has some of the greatest games on it. Super Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, some of these were on the Wii U. And what's kinda hard about researching the Switch is that there are literally so many games that come out for this console that it's hard to track. From limited run games to third-party releases, if you ever go to a video game store, just look at how much Nintendo Switch stuff they have that isn't sold at major retailers. But I'm gonna play it safe and say that the most expensive Switch game is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Master Edition, which includes the game itself, a Master Sword of Resurrection figure, a Sheikah Slate carrying case, a Sheikah Eye collectible coin, a Relic of Hyrule, Calamity Ganon tapestry and weather-worn map, and a Breath of the Wild sound selection CD. It seems like these go from about $500 to $1,000, which is already insane. It might be a little bit crazy on the end, but yeah, that's what I found to be the most expensive games for each Nintendo home console.